Alright, today we're going to solve radical inequalities. Alright, so we're going to solve these the exact same way. You can see step number one, we're going to solve using the same steps as we would you can't see that. There we go. Solve using the same steps we would a radical equation. Alright, so let's do that. We're going to square this side. We're going to square this side. Let's get rid of our square root. So we've got 5x plus 20 is less than or equal to 100. Again, we're solving for x, so let's subtract 2 on both sides. Sorry, subtract 20 on both sides. And we get 5x is less than or equal to 80. We divide by 5 and we get x is less than or equal to 16. Now, we're looking for numbers that are less than or equal to 16. Okay, so if we were to say x is less than or equal to 16, you would be including all negative numbers in this also. We need to figure out in my square root, where does my square root graph start at? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece, 5x minus 20, and set it greater than or equal to 0. So we're going to take the radicand and set it greater than or equal to 0. So 5x plus 20 is greater than or equal to 0. We need to figure out where this graph starts for the positive values. So we're going to subtract 20 on both sides. We get 5x is greater than or equal to negative 20. So x is greater than or equal to negative 4. So if I was to look at my number line, negative 4, and positive 16, we're looking at numbers that are between those because x is less than or equal to 16 and x is greater than or equal to negative 4. If I was to graph this, negative 4, okay, and then we'd be going there. Now, the point 16, which would be way over here, okay, would be where that graph crosses y equals 10. Because again, that is another function, right? So where that graph crosses y equals 10 is now outside of my solution system. So what I'm looking at is my solutions are between negative 4 and 16. So I'm going to write that as an inequality. My solutions are between negative 4 and 16. Alright, so let's go down to number 2. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for number 2. We're going to solve this inequality. Solve this square root. Square both sides to get rid of the square root. So we've got 6x minus 8 is greater than 16. We're solving for x, so let's add 8 to both sides. 6x is greater than 24, so x is greater than 4. So what I'm looking at is solutions that are greater than 4. Now we need to take this and figure out where my domain starts at. So we're going to set that greater than or equal to 0. We're going to add 8 to both sides. We get 6x is greater than or equal to 8, so x is greater than or equal to 4/3. So what we're looking at, x is greater than or equal to 4/3, but x is also greater than 4. So this way and this way. Alright, so we need to figure out on my graph what satisfies this inequality. Okay, well let's remember, this is a function, right? Y equals 4. So if I was to graph my function, my square root function, I have a domain that starts at 4/3. Okay, and then my solutions are when x is greater than or equal, x is greater than 4. So what we're looking at is this square root function here. But again, we're looking at when it is greater than 4, when it's greater than the function y equals 4. So we're looking at all of these right here because we need our function to be greater than y equals 4. Okay, well that starts right here at x is greater than 4. So my solution is x is greater than 4. Alright, let's go down to number 3. Okay, again, we're solving for x, so we want to subtract 1 on both sides. So we get the square root of x minus 2 is greater than or equal to negative 5. We're going to square both sides. So we get x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 25. So x is greater than or equal to 28. Alright, now, let's look at this. because we're going to take our radicand, x minus 2, and set it greater than or equal to 0. So x is greater than or equal to positive 2. So if I was to graph this, I need to know when my function is greater than y equals negative 4. Well, y equals negative 4 is down here. This function starts at x is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, well, let's think about this. Sorry. Yeah, okay. All right, so let's think about this. When is my function not greater than y equals negative 4? It's never not greater than y equals negative 4. So all of my solutions from start to finish are part of my solution set. So my inequality is x is greater than or equal to 2. Because everything in my function is greater than negative 4, satisfies that inequality. All right, same thing for number 4. We're going to subtract 1 on both sides, so we get the square root of x minus 2 is less than negative 5. Okay, so now I'm looking for numbers that make this square root less than negative 5. Let me say that again. We're looking for numbers that make this square root less than negative 5. How in the world can I have a square root that's less than negative 5? So a square root can never be negative. Right? There's nothing that I can plug in here to make that square root negative. So then what are my solutions? Well, there are no solutions. There are no solutions. If I graph this, that will never be below y equals negative 4. It will never be below y equals negative 4. So there are no solutions to that inequality.